We got a wild one for you today, guys. We're going to be joined in just a few short minutes by the one and only Victor Alvarez of Bradenton Motorsports Park, and huge special guest, new face in the Pro Mod scene, the one and only Shawn Murdernova Ellington. Boys, let's do this thing. Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered. This is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport, drag racing. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. Hope you're doing well out there. Thank you, as always, for joining us here in the drag racing conversation right here on Drag Illustrated's own The Wes Buck Show. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. Vic Alvarez, Shawn Murdernova Ellington. Of course, my partners in crime, Mike Carpenter, JT Hudson. What's going on, guys? You doing good?
What's up?
Yo,
we got Vic in the house already.
Vic's already here. Vic's
got the hat. There we go.
Yep.
Screenshot.
Fresh haircut just for the show. I was looking.
I noticed, man. The beard's all trimmed up, looking tight.
I was looking crazy.
No,
I like my haircut too.
Did you?
Oh, that's
yeah.
You guys are early. You got to get fresh
no
week of the race.
I'm going
Friday, the week of the race.
Yeah, I may not be able to do anything the week of the race. Like, at all.
I forget JT's going to be. JT should have already left based on the
JT, I thought you were here. I thought me and JT were going to do the show together.
Feel free, old boy. Feel free, my friend. Hey, thank you guys for joining me today. Excited to chat with you. We got a ton of shit going on in the sport of drag racing right now. It seems like every single day there's another big news, big development, but I think we got to start. And this would just, I mean, especially considering your relationship and his involvement in the track. Vic, I'm just curious, like, what do you make of our boy Garrett, Cletus McFarland Mitchell, the Daytona 500, diving into the ARCA series, on Dale Jr.'s podcast?
I actually watched that today. Did you guys watch it?
I haven't watched it yet. I watched just a clip of it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I saw some clips. Honestly, I'm never surprised by anything that he does because this is just him. Like, this is really him just being himself. And I hate to say this because I've never said it where he could watch it or hear it, but he's a really good driver. I would never tell him that, but he's like legit. I've watched him.
We can clip it out and send it to him.
I've watched him driving since 2013. We've been friends, and like everything that he's gotten into drive, he's instantly mastered and done really well. So when everyone's like, "Oh, what do you think of that?" I'm like, "He's gonna kill it. He's gonna do well," and he was doing well, and he will continue to do well. And dude, the guy's he's the man. Like, and what he does for the sport and how he moves the needle for everything that he does and the eyes he puts on motorsports, I couldn't be prouder as like a friend of what he does.
We thought some of those No Prep Kings fans were rabid. Holy cow, man! On that post of hers, wow!
Oh yeah. No, he's got a serious following. Yeah. I would hate to be in a bar and get into a fight with him because you're gonna get whooped.
yeah, for sure. Somebody there is gonna know him. He was telling the story on Dale Jr.'s podcast about it was kind of a chance deal how he ended up in this ARCA thing, and it really came from him flying to Western North Carolina and meeting up with Greg Biffle, and they're being sold out of hotels in that area, and he ended up calling Greg and saying, "Can I crash at your place for the night?" And then that's where they kind of struck up their friendship and then did that whole deal together. And that one thing led to another, and he ended up in that ARCA deal just through those connections that he made. So it's crazy. It's pretty wild.
What's crazy is that I don't remember how long ago, but a while ago now, like, you talk about stuff. I'm like, what's next? What do you want to do? And he goes, my bucket list is I want to race in the Daytona 500. And like, it's one of those things that most people say that to you and you're like, Yeah, bud,
Good
me
luck.
too.
Yeah.
Best
For
of
him,
luck.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this dude's gonna do this in like 2 years time.
Today
And-
he says he wants to buy the Daytona Speedway and put his house in the middle of it. And Dale Jr. was like, "Hey man, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that that's impossible at this point."
I get nervous when he says stuff because usually he finds a way to make it happen.
Yeah,
It's an incredible thing for me because I think the coolest thing that's happening, and this is something that we've been like kind of calling for years now, is we need help making it cool to be a car guy again.
Yeah.
I think that ship had kind of sailed, and I think that what Cletus is doing in the massive personal brand that he's built, the YouTube channel, the racetrack, the merch business, the energy drinks, everything he's got is all these motorsports companies partnered up with Doug Cook on a bunch of deals, obviously involved in the Bradenton Motorsports Park and the drag strip there, but he is bringing like a youthful energy to our sport, and he's making it fashionable to be a race car driver. I mean, I remember when like kids used to say that, right? Like they would go to school in 3rd grade and the teacher asked you what you want to be when you grow up. And some of them might've said race car driver. And I think over the course of like the last several decades, that has waned, right? Those hardcores of us, right? Those people that are like dyed in the wool car guys or dyed in the wool motorsports fans, that's always been there. But I think he's kind of tapping into the masses where we haven't been able to do that in the past. And it's an incredibly cool thing to see somebody young and buzzworthy making it cool to be a car guy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like, it's everywhere, man. Everywhere I go, I bump into someone that's wearing a Cletus shirt, and it doesn't matter. I'm talking about like I could travel. Like I bump into someone with a Cletus shirt. I get spotted like, dude, aren't you in all the Cletus videos or like, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he was.
We ran into a guy
actually,
at the airport that had the full get up on, man.
Yeah,
And we're like, hey.
Oh, dude, I see him all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to people about it. And if you really, and I'm not trying to be critical, but like if you really think about the impact that he's made in a relatively short amount of time and compare it to so many of these other things that have existed at a high level, in the motorsport space or in drag racing, like it's really crazy the way he has like cut
it's
through.
really been in the last 10 years. It's like he talked about it on Dale's deal today, kind of the backstory, and talking about the 1320 deal and talking about Kyle Loftus and how he got his start there and how it just kind of took off. And
I remember him telling me he was gonna quit law school and do YouTube full time, and I
didn't know he went to law school.
Yeah, I can imagine
about today.
the look on my face when I told him that he was kind of crazy to do it. Like I was supportive, but I was like, dude, what?
Now Victor's thinking about quitting the racetrack and starting YouTube, right?
I know.
You're pumping those things out left and right, Vic.
It's honestly addicting.
Yeah, I bet
watching the like engaging with your fans and watching like the sub count go up and all that stuff. It's really addicting. Like I feel young again. I'm like excited to do stuff and like just do the day-to-day stuff.
It's grown fast too, man. I mean, you've already got like how many subscribers? And you're in tons of views. 42,000
today.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think Friday will be like 2 weeks.
You got to become a face. That's kind of the thing. Wes has always said that. I mean, it's a lot of the impetus behind this show. You got to put a face to the business or a face to the name. And I think you're great on camera and you're a personality. And now you're kind of associated with this group that's like down there in that Florida area. And I think that it's like a natural progression. So I'm not surprised at all that you're doing fun. That and having success.
I'm surprised I enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah.
And I kick myself in the butt for not doing it when Garrett told me to.
Well, and that's what I think a lot of people think. I've thought that for years is oh, did I miss the boat on that, or is it too late? And evidently it's not. I mean,
no,
if you want to do it. Mike, back to your point, how long did we do the magazine? And then when we started the podcast, it was like a year into the podcast, and we're walking through PRI or seeing everybody's. I mean, you've done this magazine. It's great magazine forever, right? You covered all these races. You sent people all around the world to cover races, and it wasn't until like you put the faces on this podcast, and then people started, recognizing everybody.
Yeah,
it's a huge deal, man. I mean, it's like you look at. I mean, I'm telling you, the examples to this are almost endless. And I think that the success or failure of almost any movement is directly tied to having someone like that out there driving the bus. You know what I mean? And I think it's a great It's a fantastic moment for motorsports, and I hope we see it continue to develop. I mean, we've seen what that type of star power can do to these events. I mean, our next guest, Shawn Murdernova Ellington, became a household name in the automotive industry, and it's like you see how that carries over and how that translates to the success and failures of these various events. And
He's
you look how big of a deal Donald Long is making out of all those guys coming to Lights Out this week, which is, I think, fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
The biggest Lights Out to date was when all the No Prep Kings guys showed up years ago.
Yeah, it was Lights Out 7, right?
Don't let Donald hear that.
I mean, no, I mean, that was kind of the jumping off point, I think, for RVW and all. I mean, it was already had momentum, like, internally. Don't get me wrong, like, people that was
the big show.
That really kind of put it over, in my opinion.
People were jumping fences, stealing door. Stephen Faraday got his door stolen. They went and found they went and found it at the end of the track. Guy was camping in a tent, like kicked his tent down, beat him up, got the door back. I mean, it was pandemonium. You know. It was nuts.
It's absolutely bananas, guys. Let me take a quick second here and thank our sponsors. I want to give a huge shout out to the guys at Applied Racing Technology, based out of Clearwater, Florida. ART has spent more than 2 decades earning a reputation as one of drag racing's top names for quality parts and award-winning service. These guys live and breathe drag racing, whether it's Pro Mod, Pro Stock, or the all-important grassroots and sportsman categories. Plus, ART is committed to giving back. They've sponsored some of the biggest races in the country, worked with world champions, and if you're on the hunt for top-tier components and expert guidance for your race program, you got to check out our buddies at Applied Racing Technology. I'm curious, guys, and I mean, we kind of put this list out. We were waiting, and we wanted to make sure that we had like an accurate accounting of what was going on here, but I just would love to get the group reaction to 83 Pro Mods pre-entered for the biggest, richest Pro Mod drag race in the history of the known universe. I had a bunch of conversations in recent weeks with Brett Kepner, a well-known drag racing.
Something up.
Yeah, they're spooling something up there. You got something on the dyno?
These guys, they've been on the dyno, and I thought they were done. But they're going
That's okay. Hell, I didn't know if that was your head spooling up, thinking about all those Pro Mods. You know, like,
that was a good time, right?
That was perfect timing. But no, seriously, I mean, we're on the cusp of a truly historic moment. I mean, I think that if we really wanted to get down to brass tacks, the last 2 events, the U.S. Street Nationals and the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals prior to that, I think we could easily say that those were the biggest Pro Mod races that have ever happened. And everybody loves to debate how the term, how you define biggest, but I think that this next weekend at Bradenton Motorsports Park, we're going to be able to plant our flag firmly in the biggest. I think this may be the biggest professional drag race that's ever happened. I mean, there's never been this collection of talent in one place at one time.
I don't know that there can be an argument made otherwise. Like, where else can you go and see 83 Pro Mods racing for that kind of money, the points championship money that we're going to give away too? Like, there's so much up for grabs. I'm really excited about the off the trailer thing, the number 1 qualifier thing. Like, we're paying like $200,000 just to Pro Mod when you add all this stuff up.
Yep.
And there's gonna be 83, and and honestly, we might have a couple last minute ones too, because I got a call today that these guys from Australia, they're running RVW this weekend, and they really want to come run World Series next week. And like, that's what we've created. These guys are like, we're never going to have this opportunity again. We're here from Australia. This is the biggest, baddest drag race in the world. Can we please, please, please get in? Like, and it's just going to be insane. There's nothing else like it.
There's nothing.
And to back that up, the little gangsters. Turn out. Holy shit, man!
I was so wrong about that deal.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Sharon a little bit ago on the phone, and she's like, I got this guy he's gonna hop in and drive from California, and I told him it's full. Like, don't do that yet, So
it's insane. Wild. I can't believe how fast that filled up. And honestly, I think it's gonna be a really good part of the show. It's like everything else we do. Good payout, great cars, great people. We're just adding more to the show and putting more like-minded people together. And when else would Jimmy Dale race at the same event that Murdanova and Mark Mickey and Stevie Jackson would race at? You know what I mean? Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's all together. That's the magic, man.
Lanes with all those guys. That's awesome.
That's a lot of the magic of the NHRA, to be honest with you. A lot of guys, they complain all the time about getting treated like shit. But, man, their chance of being caught in the staging lanes at some point where John Forrest is down the way or something. I mean, that's why they're there for the most part, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I think it's driven everybody wants that like guilty by association type of thing. I mean, I remember growing up with my dad, you know, like we would want to go to an NHRA Pro Stock race, well knowing we had no chance at qualifying, like very, you know, a remote chance. If the whole thing gets rained out and they just take the everybody alphabetically, Buck might get in, but otherwise we're in trouble, right? But we would go to those races because we wanted to be guilty by association. We wanted to be in the staging lanes with Greg Anderson or, you know what I'm saying? Like we just wanted to be next to them or pit next to Warren Johnson. And I think that's kind of the atmosphere that we're certainly trying to build at Bradenton Motorsports Park, that no matter where you fit into this whole deal, you're going to have the biggest names in the world hanging out.
Besides that, just the list of Pro Mod, 83 cars vying for 32 spots. We are going to do a second chance race, but the quality of cars that we're going to be sending home early is just absolutely insane. And I think coming into this series, I think the question was, how do you top World Series last year? And how do you maintain the momentum over the course of 3 races? And Snowbirds was such a hit. It's like, oh my, we got to come back and do it again for US Street. Then we blew that out of the park. Then it's like, all right, World Series has got to be, you know, we got to top it again. So we've got 83 cars, got Little Gangstas. We've got, we're doing a ton of stuff for the fans. We were putting together that schedule today. We've got we're just upping the production level across the board. We've got some, just really honestly, some surprise stuff that we're still putting together and going to have ready for next week. So it becomes a challenge of how do we continually top this, not year over year now, but 3 times a year. And I think, you know, if World Series plays out like it should, that we successfully did that this year.
With this amount of cars, I was joking around earlier in a group chat with everybody. We're almost going to have to come down to qualifying and then put them in heats, you know, and then you advance on to the main. I mean, really, there's that many good cars.
There are so many good cars, because when I go through our list, I look at this and I'm like, this is an unbelievable collection of talent. I mean, these are world champions, record setters, race winners, big race winners, legends and outlaws, and everything in between, man. And it's let's bring one of the big names onto the show, who I know is looking to make a big splash at the upcoming World Series of Pro Mod. I see some questions in here in the comments, and we appreciate all those. Keep them coming. We love seeing the chat active. But the World Series of Pro Mod next weekend, February 27th through March 1st, Bradenton Motorsports Park. Be there or be square. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one and only Murder Nova, Shawn Ellington.
Murder.
What's up, boss? Hanging out in the bus at South Georgia Motorsports Park. We got a rain delay at Lights Out. What's happening, man? You doing well?
Oh, not bad, man. Not bad. Just trying to wonder why this part of the country hates us. And whenever we leave all the cold at home, it just continues to get colder down here.
Dude, no, don't say that. Next week looks beautiful for us. We're gonna be
knock on some wood. Knock on some wood.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's going to be good. Better than the last time I was there. Then.
Yeah. It should be a lot better.
You're just not quite south enough. You just got to go a little bit further south.
Yeah, you just got to drive 4 hours south, and you'll find the motherland, Disneyland of drag racing.
You guys got quite a bit of rain there right now, don't you?
It's been pouring all day. It's quit a little bit now, so we're trying to.
We just lived that, and I don't wish that on anyone, man. Dude, we had trucks sucking up water, dude. The stuff that. You were there. I don't have to tell you, but I don't wish that on anyone.
I said, man, that
it makes for a miserable week for sure.
That pumper truck that's sucking that water up. I said, that thing's really cool, Victor. He said, man, I hate that thing. It costs me a fortune every time it fires up.
It's never good when that truck's on the property.
No.
Never good.
Thank God we even have the resources to be able to do that. And like, it just goes to show, and that's why this all works, like between Drag Illustrated and BMP, is that we're so dedicated to like getting the races done and the races being the best they can, that we just call the guy and tell him to come. And then we get the bill and we cry and we look at it, whatever, but it is what it is. Like, it's got to get done. I've never been so committed to getting a race done, and our entire staff was, but we had to get it done.
Well, it was pretty amazing what they did though, picking up all that water.
Yeah, well,
it was impressive, man. I was really like,
I bet I sat and watched that truck for 20 minutes.
I know. It was awesome.
It was like one of those reels that I get sucked into on TikTok.
I just can't turn away. It's oddly satisfying.
The GOAT too, man. Wade Rich. After all that,
oh yeah,
he gave us a racetrack. He gave us a hell of a racetrack.
It was fantastic. Tell us a little bit about, we were actually just reminiscing about y'all's first appearance at Lights Out many moons ago. Lights Out 7, I believe that was. Maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah,
yeah, Lights Out 7. It's crazy how far all this has come and how much has happened in all that time. I mean, another show, multiple shows, you win a world championship. A lot has happened. What's it like being back at SGMP with the OG Nova on 275s?
And radials is something I've always liked, and we just weren't ever any good at it. Like we didn't have the equipment back then to be good at it.
You drove the shit out of it when you were there at Lights Out 7. Me and Wes talked about it. Like,
that was back when the car wheelied bad all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, it was one of those things that we didn't know. We tuned everything ourselves back then. We worked on everything ourselves, which we still work on everything, but we didn't really know what we were doing. We've learned a lot since then, and so the cars wheelie whenever you don't know how to make the suspension work to leave on a 275. So we'd leave soft, and then we'd get out there about 60 feet and pour in the power, and that's when the cars wheelie. And so we just kind of used our foot to try to keep the front end down.
Oh yeah, it's pretty difficult to do, right? But I remember seeing you go through the traps with the front end dangling multiple times down there. But your program has come a long way. I'm just curious, like, could you reflect for a minute just on the opportunity to like have these multiple race cars and dive into other stuff, like how far this whole thing has come from way back when you were there with a few of your buddies, trying to make a splash. I mean, now people are here specifically to see you. You're in world-class, world championship capable equipment. I mean, what's this whole thing been like? Is it still a pinch me moment that you're getting to drag race for a career?
Well, I mean, absolutely. You can see what I'm doing. I'm out there trying to hit every type of race venue that I can. And I want to do a little bit of all of it. I heard you guys talking about Cletus earlier, and I actually watched his interview this morning while we was rained out. And when he was talking about everything that he wants to do, and that's kind of where I'm at. I want to try my hand in every bit of drag racing that I'm able to do. I'm not as young as he is, but while I'm not that old yet, I want to do as much as possible. So we're obviously going to do some drag radial stuff this year. We'll put the car back on a 28. MPK is still going to be pretty strong this year. We've got 13 or 14 events to do with it. And then I'm obviously going to be there with you guys next weekend doing the Pro Mod stuff. And I'm also going to run some of Keith Haney's races this year with the Pro Mod.
It's awesome, man. I mean, there's so much stuff going on. I mean, if you just try to like wrap your head around all the things that are happening in our sport, it feels like a good time to be involved. We were talking a minute ago, Shawn, about just the bump that Cletus has provided in many ways. I point to Street Outlaws and No Prep Kings over the course of the last 10 years as kind of being the tip of the sword for making motorsports and drag racing fashionable again. What's your thoughts on that? Because it feels like people like yourself, Kai, Lizzie, all these people that were big personalities, big stars, working on cars, got a shop rag in their pocket, hanging out at the racetrack. That's a good thing. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think at some point, like you said earlier, it wasn't cool to want to be a race car driver anymore. And I think we've touched on this a little bit before, but it's part of getting out of the car, and first thing you do is start thanking all your sponsors and stuff instead of explaining why you're so upset or why you're so excited when you get out of the car. Because a lot of times at the end of the track, and I think the way that you guys interview people at the end of the track, you're not going to get a better interview than that. When you get out of the car, real things come out of people's mouths. Whatever happened on that pass, you're going to hear the real deal. Whereas you interview them tomorrow, and if they're upset, they don't calm down by then. You're not
they've had time to like write up their professional response and everything.
I
agree with you, man.
I've told people on Street Outlaws numerous times, you guys don't want to interview me tomorrow. Like, you guys want to interview me right now as soon as I get out of the car, because if I'm upset at somebody or I'm upset about anything, you're going to hear about it. I'm going to tell you.
That's the key, man. They always did that.
Later, but
they always did that on Street Outlaws. Like, as quick as they could get a camera in anybody's face that's pissed off or the middle of a fight or drama. And I mean, that's what made that show, is the personalities and showing that realness. I mean, people relate to that. And That show did a
Absolutely.
better job of that than anything. But we actually talked to you. We talked to you before your before you debuted at at US Street Nationals, your first pro mod venture. So now we're getting to talk to you after that and leading into World Series of Pro Mod. What was that? What was it like? I mean, what was your takeaway from US Street Nationals, and what are you looking for going into World Series?
I just really wish we'd have got those rain days back. I think that things may have been a little bit different if we would have. I just needed a little bit of seat time, and unfortunately, we didn't get it. I'll be honest with you guys. Whenever I got in that car the first couple of times, there was a way bigger learning curve than what I thought there was going to be. I've been down some of the sketchiest shit out there, and when that lockup kicked in that first time in that pro mod, I'm gonna be honest, man, it scared me a little bit. Like, not scared that I don't want to be in this car, scared as in I better get my shit together pretty damn quick or I'm going to put this thing in the wall. The first time I made it to the stripe, which would have been the number one qualifying, the first qualifying pass that we made, I got out of the car and I told Phantom, I said, man, if things wouldn't have went good on that pass, I'd have been in trouble, because everything was fine to me right up until it's not. And my brain was still back at the 60 foot and I'm already reaching up and pulling the parachutes. So it's just something that you just can't get in these cars and go and do it.
Especially that turbo combination, man. I mean, when those things lock up in that second half of the track, Vic's over here taking notes. I saw some sweat start to pour off.
None of this is encouraging, man. You're scaring me.
Well, listen, man. Hey, be me and listen to Mark Mickey's interview about how the lockup is scary and that thing better be going straight whenever the lockup kicks in and all that. I watched all them interviews too, and I was scared. And so don't think that I didn't want to test that car before the week of US Street Nationals, but we just didn't have time. So it's one of those things that you just get in the car and you go until you run out of talent, I guess. But I used to always wonder how somebody could hit the wall and still be wide open throttle going into the wall. Well, now I know, because their brain was still back there at the 60 foot where everything was going okay. So
it takes a while to catch up to the car.
It did.
It took probably 4 runs.
It took me three.
But you also used to fast up.
I know the moment it hit me whenever I caught up with the car. I got out of the car is the pass that it went towards the center and I lifted. Second qualifying pass. Yep. And I got out of the car.
You lifted at the exact perfect time, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah. And I got out of the car and I told Phantom, I got this. We're gonna be all right. You know, because it all clicked on that pass. And I think it was from staying up all night thinking about that running through my head. You know, don't let this car get away from you. And I told Keith numerous times, you know, look, I'm not going to get out there and try to be a cowboy and drive this car beyond my talent, you know. So I don't think it's going to take that much for me to be okay. I think I'm all right now, but it took me a couple. And I feel like I've been pretty fast before, and I've been down some pretty sketchy stuff. So
there's no doubt.
It's something.
What do you make of the reaction time? We talked about this. I've been blown away by this, Shawn, that you guys, yourself, Kai Kelly, Scott Taylor, like, I've been shocked by the reaction times for guys that have historically raced a lot of instant green. I mean, it's kind of made a lot of our hardcore pro mod guys get up on the tire a little bit, because after the first race, when Kai Kelly was like 11-13 throughout eliminations, absolutely insane performance on the starting line, not to mention how well the car ran. But do you think that's just from how much you guys race compared to most race teams? Because I mean, honestly, you guys getting 15 plus races in a season. I mean, you just see the tree a lot. What do you mean? Or is it just seat time again, or what do you make of that?
I think that's probably some of it. And the instant green, we have nothing to anticipate in ours, and that's the reason that there's so much controversy in our instant green light. And you hear people talk all the time about, you guessed the light, and then you get people who are, you know, real race fans who say that's what you do, you anticipate the light. No, you anticipate an amber. If you don't have an amber, that's just a guess. You take the amber out of the equation and you can't anticipate just a green light. So if you leave before the turns green and cut that good of a light, that's just a total guess. So I think it's that, and us not wanting to fail. is what it is. We set up, and these are the things that we worry about. We know if we're outgunned car-wise or we can't run the number, what can we do to still win the race? And Kai showed everybody what you could do. I mean, look at Ken. Look at how much better. I didn't go back and look, but look at how much better Ken's lights were this last race than they were the first race. He
across the board.
He was unbeatable.
I mean, he really was borderline unbeatable. And it was like, but I think that's just kind of the magic of like the cream rises, right? And you start bringing in more and more hitters and the expectations just keep raising, right? And everybody knows they've got to go up there. I mean, there's some of these races you go to where there's like a handful of guys that you got to worry about. At the World Series of Pro Mod and during the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, there are no ducks. There's nobody that's not going to give you a run for your money. So I do feel like some of it's happening organically, where it's like, okay, these guys are just rising to the occasion. What did you make of like the pomp and circumstance? One of the things that like meant the world to me was in one of the videos, another guy who's killing it with his YouTube channel, I believe, is Kai Kelly. And in one of the videos, his crew guys, Puddin' and Sunshine, were going on like, this is the first round of qualifying, and the energy here feels like we're racing for the championship in MPK, which was a proud moment for me to hear just that level of buzz and anticipation. Did you experience that kind of that tension at the U.S. Street Nationals?
I think it was there, but I think it was pretty easy to play it off the fact that I've been to the stripe twice in that car.
Right.
And it's not an excuse. It's nobody's fault but ours for not testing the car. But again, we really thought we were going to have plenty of passes under our belt whenever we showed up Monday morning, and we had until Thursday to test. And I do believe that was enough test time to make me comfortable in the car and for us to put up some good numbers. But if I don't do well at this next one, then yeah, I'm gonna be devastated. It's nobody wants to go there and expect to not qualify.
Oh, no, not at all. And I think that you're 100% correct, that you're in like a really good position. What's it been like? I mean, I know that you've been a longtime friend of Mark Mickey, but racing with Mark and being as involved with the team and being pitted with him and all those things, I'm sure some of that was a new experience. What's that been like? And what was your reaction to just the pro mod kind of fraternity that exists?
I mean, anybody that knows how I am, and Phantom is the same way as me. Phantom is not a crew chief. I mean, he is now. He's turned himself into a crew chief, and he did that strictly by watching other people and looking what they do. And we watch multiple different people along, whether it's on TV, whether we go to a race and watch others, whether we go down at MPK and watch other crews, and then we put it together and put it into our program. Some of the stuff works for us, some of the stuff won't work for us, but we still watch other people. And I've always said this, don't take advice from somebody who's slower than you. So when we watch other people, we watch other good crews and good teams. And I followed Mark Mickey around, and I did everything that he did at that race, you know, and I stood by his door and watched him shift the car and watched what he was doing, why he was doing his burnouts. And, you know, then I jumped in the car and tried to do it as close to him as possible. So it's good to have people like that around you, you know, just like the whole MPK thing. We got Brandon Stroud, Steve Petty comes and helps us. I mean, you can't
ask for anything better than that.
That's right. You can't find better people to learn from than people like that. And if you're around those people for as long as what we are and you don't learn anything, then that's your fault.
Oh, well said, Shawn. Well said, because it's like you've definitely had the opportunity to be in the orbit of some of these like world-class racers, and I'm sure you've gleaned a lot from it. What do you make of how far like the competition level has risen in No Prep Kings specifically? I mean, I've heard rumblings of the 13 race schedule, and I'm looking forward to seeing it and getting some more information on it. But man, that brand of racing has really, really escalated from where you guys were cash days racing. Do you think that we'll see that continue in 2025?
I don't know. You know how they do. They always shake things up. They always change things. We don't even really know what the format is going to be this year. I figured
there would be a format change. That's kind of what I was thinking.
And there might be. They always try to throw something new in. And honestly, I don't know. I don't have a lot of details right now. So we just kind of go with the flow when it comes to that. What racing is racing, and I've told you before, I'm a racing fan. So, I mean, I could show up to the first MPK and they could say, "Hey, we're going to do this," and sit there and just think about it, run it through your head. It could be the dumbest idea ever, and I'm gonna go, let's try it. It might work. It might be big. I mean, look at how many people thought that Street Outlaws would never amount to anything. And here we are 12 years later, and I'm still racing for a living.
It's pretty incredible, man. It really is. Vic, what do you make of the kind of the buzz going into World Series with all these cars and everything that's going on in the space right now? New cars coming out, cars coming from other countries. I mean, what do you make of the energy right now?
Man, I think it's at an all-time high. And it's crazy because you talk to people who are like normally like coming to a race to win, like just gangsters, and they're like, man, I hope I qualify. And like to have created something like that where you talk to these guys and they're saying stuff like that and they're nervous to even qualify, which rightfully so. Just that level of competition that we've created, it's exactly what we set out to do. It's amazing. I'm just excited to see how it all plays out. I'm like a kid in a candy store. When I'm there, I'm we're working, we're doing whatever we can to make sure things are going on, but we're all like geeking out. We're fans. We really enjoy it.
I think that's the big difference is we genuinely love this shit. Can't wait.
Plus we got the points championship. I think that's going to be the interesting thing that we've not done before. We're planning on, if it happens early, we're going to stop the race, do a ceremony. We've got some stuff planned for that. So that's like a new wrinkle that we've not dealt with before, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I'm hoping that it goes. I'm hoping the drama goes late into the round. So let's just say that.
I hope
Ken's got
is decided in the like final round.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hope I'm curious to see how the 5,000 for the off the trailer bonus goes. Like, are people going to swing for the fence? Are we going to see something crazy that we wouldn't normally see in the first round? It's just all these different things that we've added to the show.
Yeah.
Again, and it just made it a better show.
That's a cool deal that Proline and everyone over there is getting behind. And it kind of manifested from what we dealt with at US Street. We talked about everybody's going to be going off the trailer, very limited to no testing. And we kind of made a phrase off the trailer, and then they kind of leaned into that. And I think it's a really cool deal, and it gives an incentive. We do have 5 qualifiers, but it gives an incentive to roll off the trailer with your best stuff and see what you can do.
Yeah. Which we saw 357s in the first round last race.
Yeah.
I think with everybody having a full week to test, pretty much, right? I mean, because we've adjusted our schedule to be parking rigs on Sunday so that people that get there over the weekend will be able to start testing on Monday. So we're going to have a lot of guys getting a lot of shots at the track. So I'd say Q1 is going to be.
They're going to be breaking the door downs, Vic. I hope that you're ready on Sunday and Monday, because
Monday is going to be insane. And I mean,
it's a different deal, because I feel like for US Street, everyone was like, yeah, we might. I heard a lot. We're going to get there Tuesday and start testing. Yeah. We're going to roll in Wednesday, make a couple test hits, and be ready on Thursday. And with the weather, the only people that got to test were there on Monday. So I think people are going to learn from that, and they're going to be breaking your door down Saturday.
Well,
so I don't
high, right? Like,
it's going to be early.
They're not going to race for $150,000 for a little while. So the stakes are pretty high. And then I'm terrified. I told you guys off air, I'm supposed to hopefully see my car for the first time either tomorrow or Friday, first startup. And then it's going to immediately leave RK, come to BMP. We're going to go over the whole car, do a seat pour in, and I'm going to Monday hope for the best and do my first burnout and see how the week goes.
Shawn can help you out with that. He'll help you get acclimated.
Oh, he scared me so much earlier. I'm terrified. But if I could listen, it's again, and if you told me I would say this at any point in my life, I think you're crazy. But if I qualified, I would be like tickled, But I just want to come and play with the big boys and race the car and just.
We know what you're doing now. You're just creating content for that YouTube channel. That's all. That's what you're looking for.
Everybody's a YouTuber, man.
The YouTube channel has helped me in a way, because it makes me. I'm more accountable of everything I say. So like I said that if it's done, I'm gonna race it. There's like no backing out. Where I'm the kind of person where like normally if I don't feel, like prepared, like I'm gonna do well, I wouldn't do it. But now I have no choice. I can't let everyone down. So if that thing has oil pressure, I'll be out there. Whether I make a fool of myself or not, I don't know. But what cooler place to debut a car than the World Series promo?
Yeah, it's gonna be badass, man.
No, it's gonna be
Maybe I
badass.
pull a
And plus,
Ryan
you could just,
Stewart and I go to the semis. Who knows?
dude. And that's the coolest thing about this is the cars are all so close. Because here's the thing: like Shawn's on the outside looking in a month ago, but we all know that car could very easily qualify number one. Like, there's no doubt that that's a combination that's capable of racing number one or qualifying number one. And I just think that is kind of the magic of it, is that it doesn't really, I mean, then plus once you get past qualifying, it's all a chip draw. So shit, you may draw the baddest dude on the property in round one. I mean, it's so freaking exciting.
So funny that you say this about chip draw. I was talking with somebody about chip draw. Like, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, I love it. I think it's so cool that it just makes everything a little bit more random and unpredictable. Like, I hate when you go to a race and you look at a ladder and you're like, all right, these two cars are going to be in the final. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to be able to feel that way or predict it. So I love it. But now I'm sitting here, I'm like, it would sure suck to qualify 32 and go up there and draw like, Ken Q or Mark Vicky my first time ever. But
it really doesn't matter. I mean, you got 83 cars in qualify for 32 spots, and the spread is usually 500 or less. So even if you're 1 to 32, you're talking about such a tight spread. No one in the field's a duck. And really, everyone says that, oh, man, I drew a tough. Really, it comes down to lane choice is really what the big defining thing is.
When you're waiting for that chip draw and you grab your chip and you're waiting to see who you got, like, that's got to be, like, nerve-wracking to just not know who it is. Like, I'm excited but nervous at the same time.
We've had some cool matchups, too. The chip draw has really, like, the chip draw guides have blessed us to both of the last two events with some really killer matchups.
I don't know that
we'll ever top that.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever top that.
I don't know that we'll ever top that. Who do you think, like, out of everybody that you would like to race or have raced against, I mean, who's someone that you genuinely get up for, Shawn? I mean, you've raced against all the stars of, I mean, is there somebody that you always got up for? Ryan Martin, going back, I mean, who was it? Big Chief? I mean, who was there somebody that you ever especially got excited to compete against?
I try not to think about who I'm racing because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You're pretty much just racing your lane. And I don't know if that's just something I try to tell myself. That way I don't worry about who's in the other lane. But I try to do the same stuff every pass. I try to chop the tree down, and I try to just do my job. I honestly don't care who's in the lane next to me. But, of course, I mean, you could throw darts at that list, and I'm honored to sit next to any of them people. Like, half of those people are people I grew up watching too. Not necessarily grew up because I'm the same age as some of them, but, from the outside, like you said, from the outside looking in, I've watched half of those people drive for years. Because even when I wasn't doing it, I still keep up with it.
No, which is encouraging because that's one of the things that you're always wondering, like, is this shit happening in a vacuum? Like, is anybody else paying attention? But yeah, they clearly are. So, well, hey, Shawn, we don't want to keep you too long. I know you got stuff going on at the racetrack, but I do take us through kind of what your plan is over the course of the next couple of days. I mean, you're going to go straight from Valdosta and head south to Bradenton Motorsports Park. Is that what the game plan looks like?
Yeah, I truly hope to still be racing on Sunday. And if so, it's going to be a long day because I'm packing up here. I'll leave here. I'll drive, and I will be set up Sunday evening.
It's awesome,
ready to test Monday morning.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys, man. It's been awesome having you guys join our little club here and being part of this family because and we appreciate all you've done. You've been a fantastic partner in all of this and help us promote and help spread the word. And that's one of the things that we preach to our kind of traditional pro mod racers, if you will, is how much of a help it is when we've got all these people that are helping us spread the word and helping us, are excited about this. Cause that's what it takes, man. It takes a whole lot of people to pull this stuff off, get those fans in the stands. And we really are excited to have you be a part of this, man. Really are.
Well, if there's more places to race and more people putting on stuff, more people's going to race. And that keeps our sport alive. So whatever we can do.
We appreciate you, brother. Seriously, Shawn, thank you so much, man. Stay dry there, and we'll see you in a couple days, all right?
All right, guys. Take care. See y'all soon.
Appreciate you, buddy.
See you, man.
Go Shawn, Murder Nova for life, they say. Murder Nova for life. He is a fantastic dude, and he really has, stayed true to who he really is as a person, because he's been, as cool today as he was 10, 12 years ago when I first met him. and it's crazy to see how far all this shit has come. It really is.
It's easy to let that success go to your head, but he's one of the guys that hasn't, and like you said, still the same guy that he was from day one. And I think the fans show that. Like, he's got such a fan following, and all the fans feel comfortable coming up to him, talking, and really getting to know the person. I mean, I gotta say that about a lot of the guys. Kai's been great. Jimmy Taylor, who else? Scott Taylor
has been absolutely fantastic, man. No, and it's,
like, honestly, all of our guys, for the most part, they're all just so cool and so welcoming. Yep. And like, I think Wes and a lot of other people, but Wes in particular, have done a good job of just explaining the importance of us. If you're racing, you're a part of a show, and these are your fans, and how important the fan interaction is, and how important it is to be a character when you need to be, and be whoever it is you need to be to these people. Sign autographs, take pictures, and how much that does for the sport, and creating new people who want to come watch our sport and watch our events and be a part of our events. And I think people have really embraced it.
It's been cool to see like the crossover between seeing some of our really hardcore pro mod guys that keep a low profile, but are some of the baddest in the world, watch what these MPK guys are doing, and have these MPK guys kind of watch those guys and learn from them, and seeing like some of those guys that are more quiet branching out and doing more promotion or talking more, and then seeing these MPK guys respect what the pro mod guys do from a technical standpoint and everything. It's been a really cool mix. And there's been, obviously you got the Stevie Kai deal, which is, there's no love lost there, but there's a lot of respect. And I think that's something that goes on throughout the pits. I think we've seen that grow throughout the series.
It's fun too. When they're talking trash, I mean, it didn't always have to be a complete rivalry, where you like hate the other person, but like Lyle Barnett and AB going back and forth, and it's all in fun. I mean, they want to win and they want to beat the other person for sure, but you get those things started, and that little bit of shit talk goes a long way. For the fans, it does, at least.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And we need more of it. We got a question here, and we'll just go around the room. This is a good one. Blake's asking, Wes, what are you looking forward to the most for the World Series or Pro Mod? Let's all answer that question. But for me, it's like just seeing all those people. Like I love the racing, and I think we're going to probably produce the quickest pro mod field in history. I think we're going to have the biggest pro mod drag race in history. I think we're going to tick a lot of boxes. But for me, the real enjoyment is just being amongst my brothers and sisters in arms, like being down there with you two, JT, Mike, our whole team at Drag Illustrated, Vic, Wade, Law, Gavin, Arl, everybody, John Sears, like getting our gang together. Like I want to do more races just because I want to spend more time together. And then you marry that with all these incredible people. And it's not just pro mod. I mean, it's all of our pro mod guys are awesome. And we've developed these like deep relationships with most of these people. But we also have like a slew of awesome people in Pro 10-5 and in Mountain Motor Pro Stock and in Top Sportsman and Top Dragster. And now we're bringing Jimmy Dale's Little Gangsters program. And it's just like to have all of our buddies, everybody that kind of looks at things the same way as we do and is as passionate about this sport as we are in one place at one time. It's hard not to get excited just about the brotherhood opportunity that exists. I think Q1 with this Pro Line Racing Engines off the trailer bonus is going to be fun. It's going to add some energy to that first round of qualifying. Not that we need any help in that regard, but it's definitely going to sweeten the pot a little bit. I love the chip draws. That's probably my favorite part of the actual race. Is
Wait a second. Are you gonna go through everything or leave us anything?
Yeah, I'm going to leave you a couple things.
Yeah, leave us one.
Then I was just going to say that I think one thing that I'm particularly excited about is the party on Thursday night and running the junior dragster shootout during the party. I think that it's just going to be fun for everybody and let those kids be the center of attention on Thursday night. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And what else? Oh, probably going to Poblanos Wednesday night. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. I actually was thinking about that earlier, that there's so much stress and work, and there's a big spotlight on this deal now, a lot of pressure. And it makes you, I can't wait to get this over. I can't wait till Saturday night when this thing's over. I think Alicia was actually talking about that this morning, Wes. And I was like, yeah, I agree. But at the same time, man, I'm going to miss it. And as soon as this deal's over, then we don't do a race until December, which normally it would be the following March, but at least we've got December now coming around for Snowbirds 2025. I think we're going to be chomping at the bit to do it again.
I think so too. I really think we're going to be going nuts to try to put something together sooner rather than later. You know what I mean? It's just, And I feel like we're good at it. You know, like that's something that
we
Vic
are.
and
We're
I,
getting
you know,
better at it. I feel like we're really hitting our stride too. Like that's something that I think
Don't jinx
happened
it.
by
but
doing, by doing these 3 races together. I feel like we're getting into a nice routine, getting a lot of the little kinks. When you only do it once a year, it's kind of like going drag racing once a year. If you just roll off the trailer and don't do any testing and go drag racing once a year, you're probably going to suck. So you've got to get in a groove. You got to kind of get a flow going. And that's what we've gotten happening here with this 3-race series.
Vic, how about you?
Honestly, I think my favorite part of the event, and it's like a bittersweet thing, is when we get in the winner's circle and we crown all the winners and champions. And I feel like it's always fun, but World Series of Pro Mod is like another level. The winner's circle celebration at World Series of Pro Mod is unlike any other. And the not knowing who you're going to be in there with makes it even better.
Yeah, it is a special moment. And I actually was going to post that on social today that like, there's no winner circle like the winner circle at World Series of Pro Mod. And whether it's getting doused in champagne or throwing the money up in the air and the party and the music, like it's just, I've had multiple racers.
Dude, I'm getting really good at spraying that champagne. Like I'm super excited. Like I got some major velocity and pressure.
I'm going
out of that deal. I'm really
you about have to practice. It's not that easy.
I'm going to get some bottles this week and I'm going to practice.
Yeah.
No, you should get some of that cheap stuff and just
if you're
kind
a fan,
of figure out how to aim it.
Stick around and come join us in the winner's circle.
Yeah, I want to say, we definitely need it. As many people want to come. I wish more fans were there.
And honestly, if you just witness the winner's circle celebration, you will want to race. Like you will want to experience that. And like, that's what it's all about. We will do anything to win. And the bigger the prize and the celebration and all that just makes it so much better.
Because even at $150,000, I mean, you know, you buy a motor or whatever, you're back to zero. You know what I mean? So it's like you've got to make those memorable moments, right? Where nobody is ever going to forget that time that they won a race at Bradenton. Like that's always my goal, is I want it to be like a core memory when they've won one of these events. They may go win every other drag race in the world, but they're never going to forget when they won at Bradenton. And I think that's like at a Drag Illustrated event. And that's like the most important thing for me personally. And I think the winner's circle will be packed with the race ending on Saturday. Vic, both these other races have come to conclusion on Sunday.
But why didn't Vic say that he's looking forward to racing his car?
I haven't seen my car, JT.
I mean, I'm excited about it.
I have literally
some of the spotlight off of that.
I have literally not laid eyes on this car.
I figured that'd be your answer.
So the last time you saw it was when you were getting fitted in it?
I've seen this car once when I was getting fitted, and it was just a bunch of bars. I have not seen the car since then. A lot of people have seen it. I have not. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm very excited for the car, but it's tough too. It's tough to do these races and also race in them. We have a great crew, so it makes it a lot easier. I can do it, and Gavin and Wes and just all of our guys, Petey, Wade, everybody will pick up the slack, and it'll be, a perfect show. But I'm always wondering or wanting to make it better, or to like, hey guys, let's do this or let's do that. I'm very involved, so it's tough to be extremely excited, and the fact that I haven't seen the car. But if that thing has oil pressure, I'm going to be in there doing whatever I can to get in the show. And if I get in the show, it's game on.
Record this because we're going to play this back for Vic, because if he goes out there
over and over
and goes a couple rounds, he'd be like, y'all got that? You're fine. I don't need to have anything to do with the race, man. I'm over here. I'm trying to get ready for the next round, dude. You guys got it. Leave me alone.
Vic, what's your favorite,
be home all week. I'll just be testing all week.
He's going to be at the track more than we've ever seen him. He's going to be there every day. Vic, what's your favorite street car you've ever had? Like, you've had all these big, like, have you ever had like a big power Supra?
Oh yeah, I've probably owned, without exaggerating, probably 100 Supras, and I've probably had,
that's a lot, dude,
40 of them over 1,000 horsepower. Man, that's a tough thing. Like, so for me, the Supra's like,
is that one back there right now?
Yeah, they're making as much noise as they can today back there. But to me, that's the ultimate street car personally. But there are better cars just because the times and the technology. Man, I don't know. That's a tough question. I think Supra for me is my ultimate street car. I'm very intrigued by R34 GTRs now that they're legal to come to the States. Because as a kid, it was always Supras and GTRs were like the two coolest cars. But you couldn't get a GTR. And I test drove one the other day, and I shouldn't have done that because I really liked it. So maybe that'll be a whole nother path I go down. But I've since owning the track and learning about drag racing as much as I have, and the safety and like just all of it, I really, really, really lean towards race cars now. And I really, really, really enjoy drag racing and getting a time slip and cutting the light and the competitiveness of it. I really enjoy that. So I haven't done as much street car stuff, which was a part of the reason I built the Pro Mod. And I don't know. I think bucket list for me is to race Pro Mod.
Awesome.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great. That's really what we want to hear you say. I just saw these people asking about Supras, and I'm like, I really do. I'm a big fan of, like, what are they? The 93 to 96 ish or whatever.
Which one?
Or 93 and 97. The Supra, like, what do they call that? A Mark V?
Mark IV. Yeah. They're like the coolest cars of the 90s, in my opinion. I can't
really argue.
Those cars will
like
never,
the one in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that was the orange car in Fast.
Like, I went to the movie theater with my dad and watched Fast and Furious, and that's like a core memory. Like,
have you ever had one with that paint scheme or graphics?
No, I haven't.
I painted a golf cart that color.
Yeah, we've had clients that have tried to like replicate it. I've always dreamt of trying to like recreate one, like, but to the T. And it would be so hard to get the parts because they're like impossible to get and discontinued and old, and you'd have to find them and refurbish them. But one day, if I have a ton of time, I might do something like that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you build a Supra Pro Mod? Why are you rolling out with a 69 Camaro?
Because
that was a question we got offline here. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I couldn't get a body. So there were rumors of a Mark IV Supra Pro Mod body being available, and it still may happen someday. And if it does, I will absolutely build one and have one. And
we know a guy that can hook you up.
I would wrap them, and I would do different iconic themes every year. Like, I would have the Castrol Supra one year, the Fast and Furious Supra another year.
That'd be sweet.
Paisley Supra. Like, I would.
Oh, you got to do it now. Shit.
So is the body that like Antron has on that Lexus? Is that like the Mark V Supra?
No, that's a custom Lexus body.
That's not. I thought that was like. Wasn't there a Supra at one point that was that same?
No, that's like the Lexus LC.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was one. I thought that was based off of the Supra. No, didn't like the E-Canoe deal didn't they have a Supra at one point? Am I just making this?
They had a Supra, like we have a Supra, our shop card induction, where it's like steel roof and quarters and had a one-piece nose. They had a car like that. But no, if there's a Pro Mod Supra body, we're building one.
Guess what? Tim Hodgins from Synergy Composites is going to be on the grounds at World Series. And you need
I'll give him a car. I'll give him a car to mold or to copy. Like, I don't care.
I was surprised that the Fox body Mustang hasn't shown up yet. You know, that body that got like leaked out from Dan Schoeneck a few years ago.
But I don't know.
I think it would look. Those things would look weird with such a long nose. They already have a long nose.
It would look.
I wouldn't be very aerodynamic either.
Yeah. What do you make of getting more import cars? How far away do you think there will ever be a day that we'll be able to see like a 2JZ 6-cylinder deal light enough to be competitive in the low 360, high 50 range?
I don't think that it's not possible. I don't think there's anyone who has set their eyes on it. The rules are wide open, honestly, like for them to come and make the attempt. But I think it's discouraging because you just know that you're going to have a lot of work cut out for you. You're going to tear some stuff up. But is it possible? Absolutely. Who has the time and money to do it? I don't know. But it's definitely possible. I think, I've told you this, having an import show up and just qualify for World Series or Pro Mod would be absolutely, I'd pay somebody's entry to do that. That'd be so cool.
It would be a big deal. I mean, and that's really the next thing. I mean, when I look at it, I don't think we'll see a diesel Pro Mod run like that, but I have thought about just including one of, like, because there's that purple 69 or that purple CUDA that run, and it's like, I think it'd be cool to just continue to bring those worlds together, and that import market is amazing. Like, those are some of the most passionate fans that exist.
Yeah, the internet would break if we had an import at the chip draw of World Series of Pro Mod. I wish it would. Man. So maybe one day it will.
Maybe one day it will. I actually think it will. Let's go through some other questions here, guys. Wes, how's your dad? He's hanging in there, Blake. I appreciate you asking. He's struggling pretty good right now. We need more import. Ecanu had a 5-second super. What else we got, JT?
I don't know. I wasn't writing them down.
Okay.
Haven't even read them.
I felt the pro race. Well, hey, there's somebody asking about the pro race. The pro race was a smashing success by all accounts. Huge turnout of fans. We, for anybody wondering, we just obviously focus on the door slammer stuff. That's what we're specifically passionate about and have the most onus over. And really what we felt like we needed to focus on was the things that serve us the most and serve the sport the most. And I feel, I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but Pro Mod really is the biggest opportunity that exists in drag racing today. I mean, there's just more of these cars. It's a great group of people that are eager and excited and trying to build something. And that's willing participants are a big part of this. So I just feel strongly about Pro Mod racing, and we wanted to kind of put our money where our mouth was and focus our efforts on the Drag Illustrated Winter Series and building this out and taking over the world with Vic and the gang at BMP. I mean, that's really what it all boils down to.
You couldn't put 83 fuel cars together if you tried. So not as cool.
No, you'd have to have a time machine.
Yeah, you'd have to have a
Bring
time
them
machine
all from different eras.
Yeah,
it was
really
crazy.
is.
I saw a bunch of people talking about our list today, which I knew we were working on that and trying to get that thing out because I knew that I was going to get a lot of traction and people wanted to see that huge entry list. And for some of even though that thing is just stocked with stars, there's a lot of names missing, according to a lot of people. And I mean, in one way, I think they're crazy. In another way, they're not wrong. There's probably another 100 pro mods that aren't on that list that could be. So it just speaks to the inventory of those cars that are available in the US and worldwide.
And more coming. People are building those things left and right.
Yeah,
and in part because of what we're doing, which is really cool.
No, and it's going to be exciting to kind of see it carry into the rest of the year. I mean, I think we're going to see a great year of PDRA racing. Northeast Outlaw Pro Mods are back after John Mazzarano retired. Andy Jensen has kind of taken the torch and is going to continue to push that series forward. I mean, there's just the Midwest Drag Racing Series. There's a lot of places to race these cars and race them against great competition at great tracks. No, I mean, there's no telling where Pro Mod goes over the course of the next few years, because I really think that if we were continuing to tell these people's stories and introduce the masses to them. I mean, we've seen some of these guys become very well known on the back of Pro Mod drag racing. So I know it's possible. I mean, we're seeing it happen, man. It's I'm very excited to see. I mean, and some of these guys that are icons, like the opportunity to see Todd Tutterow back in a car and potentially line up against Kai Kelly, moments like that shit we would have dreamed of having happen 10 years ago, and here we are making it happen. And it's I think it's going to be fantastic. What do you make of our boys from Australia? I saw that they got pre-entered. I have a feeling they'll be a problem.
Dude, those guys are no joke. They came a couple months ago and tested that car, and they did phenomenal. They were after a quarter-mile record. They turned it around, put it in 8th mile trim on radials, and they plan on leaving Duck's race on Sunday, coming straight to BMP, putting that thing on big tires and doing it again. And they're not just out at Duck's race like testing or like running and hoping to make the field. They're putting up numbers. I think I only saw one pass in RVW faster than them.
Yeah, they went 56, didn't they? Or 54?
54.
Yeah, did they register for World Series? Are they locked in?
They saw the list and they panicked because they had said that they wanted to be a part of it. And we had talked about it with Eric at Proline and whatnot, and just never got locked in because we weren't sure they'd be able to make it. So they saw the list, they panicked, and now they're in.
That's another good thing those lists are good for. All you have to do is send one of those out, and then you hear from everybody that was on the fence.
Oh my God.
Well, can we be like, I want to expect the most, but you also get worried that like you may scare some guys off. I know that if I was looking at that list, I'd be like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, maybe we should have posted. But it really just speaks to the caliber of people that we have involved in this. They wouldn't have it any other way. They want to come down there and fight through
these fields
the
are so
baddest
tight,
sons of bitches walking.
The vast majority of those cars on that list have a shot. And the fields are so tight, the way we've got the rules, like we talk about the technology, the drivers, the tuners, the track surface, the weather. I mean, everybody's got a shot, and if you don't or whatever, Vic just left, I guess. Peace.
We lost Vic.
But speaking of what you were saying earlier about people that just want to be a part of it, I think there is some notion to where they just, even if they feel like they're not don't have a shot to qualify or whatever, which I disagree with, they want to be or say they were part of this event. They want to participate in the pomp and circumstance and the energy and be a part of it, which I think is, to me, the coolest thing. And I think that speaks to what we've built here and the environment that we want to have. And we've said this over and over. This shit is way too hard and way too expensive to not have fun. And I think that a lot of those guys know that they're going to come down there, spend a week with their buddies and their family, and have a lot of fun. And I think that is key to this whole thing.
Speaking of fun, aren't we, for the spectators in the VIP section and stuff, aren't we going to do some happy hours or something, Wes? Isn't that what you were talking about?
Yeah, man. We've actually got a host of
you don't know it yet, but we're hosting a happy hour. Me and you.
I know. I like it.
No, I mean, I think it's going to be, I'm going to pull this schedule up and we can run through it here, because it's one of the things that we're really trying to do. And we love to hear any feedback from you guys, because all of this is to serve the drag racing fan base. Like, the only reason this event exists is because we feel, and I feel strongly, that the fans deserve it. I'm a drag racing fan at my core. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I am. And I'm blessed to be able to make my living in drag racing, but I love this stuff. And these are the type of events that I have dreamed existed. This is the type of action that I've wanted to see. So we try to take, what we think the fans deserve and deliver. We've got some of the most incredible drag racing you could ever ask for. But on top of that, we've got a bunch of badass festivities put together for our VIP fans and fans in general. Starting on Thursday, we're going to have interviews in our VIP, the Strange Engineering VIP Pavilion, throughout the course of the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got Pro Mod 101 coming up Friday morning, 9 a.m. with 2023 World Series of Pro Mod winner Spencer Hyde. We got lunch interviews happening while we've got food in the hospitality area. We're also going to have the Real American Beer VIP happy hour with JT Hudson and Mike Carpenter in the Strange Engineering Pavilion each day starting at 3 o'clock. We got multiple driver autograph sessions. It's going to be fantastic, man. I mean, I think that I got Roger Conley from Hearts Turbo is going to do a Pro Mod Tech Talk at 11 a.m. on Saturday in the pavilion. We'll, of course, have the chip draw happening throughout the weekend. Multiple deals with Flow Racings, Courtney Enders, Don O'Neill. We're also going to have Brian Loans pop into a few of these. We got all sorts of stuff happening in the VIP tent. We're sold out of VIP tickets, which is a huge moment for us as a group. Like, I think any promoter worth his salt is always kind of looking for those words sold out. So that was a really exciting moment for us last week to be 2 weeks out from the race and be sold out of VIP tickets. Pretty badass, man. But yeah, I can't wait, dude. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I was going to try to do a track walk Saturday morning, but I don't think we're going to have time.
Nick's asking if the VIP deck will be behind the water box from last year. No, we're going to have the VIP deck that we did the last two races that was over behind the tower. We're going to move it behind so you can see down the track. I think it'll be a great spot, actually.
Yeah. It'll be in the spot where that one was, but yeah, the same one.
And we've actually, ramped up, our production over there as well. We've got some badass backdrops. We got more lighting. I'm really excited for Friday and Saturday night at World Series of Pro Mod, because we got some surprise production stuff that we're bringing in that should really add to the electricity on Saturday night. We're going to have ourselves a freaking prize fight is what's about to happen.
Hey, we've got a ton of vendors too. We've got Eat Sleep Race coming with their merch deal. They're going to be helping us out with the Racers Club and the BMP and Drag Illustrated event merch that we're going to have. So yeah, tons of merch available on top of everything else.
It's pretty badass, man. We got Zen is coming. We've got we're going to have Monster Energy drink on the property. We got a ton of cool stuff.
Mafia.
We got Big Hat Mafia going to be there. Florida Performance and the Red Line Oil display. We'll also have, who else? What else do we
Precision Turbo, Fuel
Precision Turbo, Fuel Tech, UPR. We're also going to have, of course, our new partnership that we announced yesterday or this morning. Hoosier Racing Tire joining the Drag Illustrated family as the official racing tire of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series and World Series of Pro Mod. They'll be there. Fuel Factory. Super excited about that. Wes, how long have you been a media person for NHRA and drag racing in general? Blake's really helping us out with questions today. I want to give it up to Blake for hitting us with the questions. It's not our normal Blake. It's YouTube's Blake. But dude, I've been in drag racing my whole life. Started the magazine 20 years ago with these two knuckleheads. Mike's been part of the operation basically since day one. JT joined the family about 10 years in and has been here ever since. But yeah, I mean, I went to my first ever NHRA national event as a member of the media in the winter of 2006, I believe. It would have been the Winter Nationals. I remember I bought a ticket, paid to park, went and sat in the grandstands with my camera that I bought at Best Buy on the way to the track. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So I've been doing it ever since, man. 20 years this October.
Ken Collins is in the chat here as well with Cool Racing Parts. Mark Mickey used this stuff this last race, but it bloats up like you put it in cold water. It bloats up and you can set it. You can cool down about anything, even your neck or whatever.
Even your neck. That's what I use them for.
Yep,
Ken Collins, we got you taken care of, buddy. You don't got to worry about anything when it comes to sellouts. Jimmy Dale in the house. We got 600 little gangster 530 index cars coming down.
Oh man, Sharon did call earlier. She said,
yeah.
JT, I got to ask you a question about this. What exactly is little gangsters? And then she corrected herself, which cracked me up. It almost made my day. She goes, sorry, I mean, lil gangsters.
That's how you got to say it.
and I was like, oh my God, it's made my day. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's little gangsters.
Gotta be little gangsters. Yeah. Man, they're going to put on a show and just that whole crew. That's like the new thing we talked about earlier. The NPK and all this stuff. We've had like a melting pot in our pro mod ranks. Now we're going to throw these guys in the mix with our kind of our standard class lineup. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
I can't wait, man. To be honest, as we move forward, I think the Winter Series next year, I really would like to introduce something like this for each event. You know what I mean? Where there's like Little Gangsters is forever a part of World Series of Pro Mod or for the foreseeable future, right? But we find another community of people that are doing all the right things and making lots of noise and bring them in for US Street Nationals and do the same thing at Snowbirds. Like there's part of the biggest issue that I think has hurt this sport over the course of its 100 years of existence is how it's magic. The diversity is absolutely an incredible thing, but it also kind of sends us off to our own corners of the room quite frequently. And these moments or these opportunities where we can kind of tear down some of those walls and bring people together, that's when the magic happens, man.
Tear down these walls. I think of Ronald
tear
Reagan
down these
walls.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to start. You have promised me since race one there. Who's Marlon Lincoln? Wes, do you have my event t-shirt? Make sure Marlon's got a 4X event t-shirt.
You
JT, help me with that.
Race one. Get over there early, Marlon.
You got to get over there
beeline to the tent. Yeah, because we do have that size, but limited quantities. Brian McCaddy says, are we seeing the death of NPK with all the heavy hitters going pro mod racing? We actually just talked about that with Shawn Ellington earlier. I don't think we're seeing the death of it. I do think we're seeing guys diversify and find themselves a place to race, really. And we've seen the NPK schedule hasn't been officially announced that I know of. We've seen it floated out there. I think they are going to have a schedule this year and have a season. We'll see, the format, all those details are yet to come. But I think guys are smart to either have a car that can fit a various series. I mean, guys are going from radial to big tire, whatever the case may be, or having a separate car for something like NPK. I think guys are smart to do that. We've always kind of preached that. And I think that if you're going to build a car, building something that fits basically the World Series of Pro Mod rule set, I think is a smart move.
100%. And that's what I've been saying for like 10 years now, is that what I really see with Pro Mod is a multi-purpose race car. I mean, because we want to see all these sanctions and series and independent events succeed and flourish. So I think about like John Rica from Australia. I mean, he's got radials and no wheelie bars on the car this weekend for lights out, and they're going to switch that thing over, make a bar change, put the wheelie bars on it, put big tires on it. They've probably got a setup in a box. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple guys that are doing that. And I really think that's
Stevie's been,
when you've got a race car,
you can the headliner for that whole deal for a long time.
100%. I mean, and there were a lot of Daniel Ferris was doing it for a hot minute, bouncing from big tires to radials for the big money races. And I think that that's really important. to have guys to have an opportunity to get the most out of that investment, right? I mean, if you're going to spend $500,000 on a race car, it's fantastic to be able to go to a lot of different events and kind of get involved in a lot of different things. So that's really probably the power of it. And I think that's what we're seeing mainly with the MPK deal is, like you're saying, Mike, guys looking for opportunities to diversify and build a car that they can race in a multitude of locations.
And I'm not trying to speak out of turn on that, but I think at the same time, without the TV contract and how the last couple seasons have went, these guys they might be looking for a different home as well. I mean, who knows? But something a little more stable, possibly. I don't know. Without that TV contract and that star power behind that and being seen on TV, it's harder to come up with that money. It really.
Well, here's what I'll tell you, and this is my prediction. Is I think the future of No Prep Kings is directly correlated to television. And I think that if they were to roll out tomorrow with an announcement that it was back on Discovery Channel or it was on whatever, I think you would almost immediately see the mood around it change. I think and people oftentimes fail to realize the allure of celebrity and the allure of fame and having the opportunity to race in front of millions and millions of eyeballs, on television, on broadcast television. That's a huge deal. It's a big time motivator. I mean, I've had a lot of teams tell me that they were able to generate significant sponsor revenue because of the visibility that No Prep Kings and Street Outlaws provided. But when that goes away, that becomes much more difficult. So I think that it's really tied directly to television. That's my opinion. I think
it's not just the racing. It's not just the racing. It's the investment. It's the investment from those networks that it gets poured into that production for them to send a camera crew, 3 guys following around Murder Nova everywhere he goes and creating that content to pair with the racing. That's what we're missing a lot of times with the way we're doing it at our races and with streams and everything is, we're doing a fantastic job with what we have to work with. But when you've got tens of millions of dollars pouring into production just to have staff and crew to produce that, what people are drawn to on the NPK deal is all that additional content that allows them to see in the pits, the relationship Murder Nova has with fans, all that stuff that we can't do logically with the budget that we have. So that to me is what you're missing. And until you get it's hard to bring that back.
That TV moves the needle so much on that kind of stuff that even people that didn't race, that were on the OG show and people formed a relationship with or started following, every time you bring up No Prep Kings, you're going to see a ton of questions in the comments. Where's Big Chief? Did you sell the pro mod and blah, blah, blah. We saw it in here earlier today, but he's still holding on. That's still the stardom that he had from the original show. Like he hasn't hardly even raced anything in No Prep Kings and still has that stardom. So, it definitely moves the needle.
Well, and I think that Dustin Beck is asking, why couldn't it work on YouTube if they put more effort and promotion into it?
What I just said.
Yeah. And I really think the live stream, like you said, the production value just isn't there. But even if, I think that you're still beholden. As much as
drag race fan to go type into YouTube to watch this, where when it's on mainstream TV, on I would say even Discovery Channel over like Motor Trend or something like that, it's going to an audience that wouldn't necessarily ever type that into YouTube or
but even the budget,
search it out.
Yeah, but the budget they have to put on that YouTube deal is nothing like they would have to put on.
But I'm still saying it's not going to reach the same audience. It's not going to reach. It's not going to reach the same audience, though.
I agree with you 100%. But I'm saying even the audience that did tune in would go, "What's this? This is not what I'm used to seeing." And so that to me is the big difference, and that's what made those guys stars, and what really elevated that show above any other drag racing production.
We need to win the lottery so we can just do it ourselves.
Hell yeah, we will. We were talking yesterday about this livery reveal, the F1 livery reveal. If everyone watched that or tuned into it, the production that was made of that's just pure money and budget that is poured into that makes something like that happen. That, you just have to have that. I don't know who all is behind that or how all the finances work for that F1 deal, but it's like, that's just pure money. Those guys know they can get their ROI on that because they, all the stars they have and the pomp and circumstance they create around it. But all this stuff comes down to money being poured behind production.
I really think that the production value is a big part of it. But don't you also think that like with YouTube, as much as I love what they're doing there in YouTube, it's not nearly as bad as with like Facebook or Instagram. But I've always kind of felt like you're building this house on borrowed ground. You're like you're building this huge platform, but it's married to something that you don't own or ultimately have control over. Like I've worried about that for some of these content creators. Like what happens when Facebook comes along or YouTube, comes along and demonetizes your channel? I see that all the time with all the right-wing, crazy, conservative political stuff that I watch, that it's like a guy's talking about a sensitive subject and that video gets demonetized or doesn't get fed into the algorithm because YouTube doesn't like some of the words or whatever that were used in it.
Cletus talked about that today on the Dale Jr. deal. He said he had to figure out the recipe behind what worked and what didn't. He said he figured out the thumbnail recipe was the biggest thing. He actually really had a great quote, and I'm going to try to not butcher it, but he said that you can create the best video in the world, but the thumbnail is the door. And there can be an awesome video behind that door, but if the viewer doesn't go through that door to see it, it might as well not exist. So it's all about creating the thumbnail, number one. And then he said that like that video that he did where he drove around the Dale Earnhardt truck, I think it was an old like Craftsman truck series truck, and he got pulled over. Like content like that started to get throttled down by YouTube, because it was for whatever their algorithm knew it was like illegal or whatever was happening. So he had to work around that. But it kind of goes to what you're saying, where you've got to navigate the algorithm. You don't own the platform. So something you may think is fine or is like your best video ever doesn't get a lot of play. Dale Jr. actually said it too. He's like, I'll get really excited about something, some new segment or something we've really put a lot of heart and soul into, and we'll air it. And it just doesn't get the feedback. And then some dumb thing that we didn't even think twice about just goes off the rails viral. And so there's some of that at play too.
It is frustrating. I mean, when you put so much work into something or making a video or doing some editing and you're proud of it and you're wanting to show everybody. I mean, really for like the past 6 months or year, maybe even longer than that. Where do you post it? I mean, I mean, you can post it to YouTube, but Facebook sure as hell doesn't want you to post a video to it. I mean, the rigmarole you got to go through to post a video, and then oh shit, now I'm in a reel. Now it's deleted my description that I just spent fucking 30 minutes on. You know, I mean, that stuff is infuriating. Oh well, we want you to use reels. Okay, well then you try to reel and it doesn't perform too. Especially it doesn't perform like a video used to on those platforms. So then what do you do? Where do you post this shit? You know, we work our asses off to come up with something. And then they like
one little trip up
later,
in how you post it. It's like, oh no, sorry, 2 views on that. You didn't post it exactly right.
I had a good friend that had a business that was like almost entirely reliant on traffic from Facebook, and Facebook made a significant algorithm change and it crushed his business overnight. I mean, like quite literally went from something that was doing well, cash flowing like crazy, blah, 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 driving all these sales. And then an algorithm change comes along where outside links aren't treated as favorable as they once were with Facebook, and it crushed the business overnight. And I think about that a lot. And that's why I'm so proud of like building these brick and mortar products that we have, you know, with things like, you know, a real tangible printed magazine, right? It's a platform that we own. Dragillustrated.com. It's a platform that we own. It's why we put so much onus on email addresses, is that once you've, you know, got someone to opt into your email list, like you have a connection with them and a relationship with them that you can carry no matter what software you use. That information comes with you. And it's an interesting world that we're living in right now. I mean, and I think that Brian McCaddy said a great thing here. And I've seen Mr. Beast say this, a lot of content creators, that they basically don't make the video until they have the thumbnail visualized or thought up and the title, you know, the headline for the video.
And that's probably 2 different types of creators. That's somebody that's actually creating content, you know, I mean, they know they have to come up with content for their channel, so they're creating that. And then you have other creators that have been successful off of stuff that happens in their life that's organic, you know, and just being able to capture it.
Another stupid question from Brian McCaddy. This is what he said. I'm not saying stupid. He said it. Another stupid question. Outside of wheelbase restrictions, are there any major drawbacks to a steel roof and quarter car if the right body is chosen? I think it's really not the roof and quarters that have any impact on it at all, Brian. I think it's all about wheelbase. That's probably been, and what we've seen is that it can be done. I think that there was probably a belief set prior to Kai Kelly's performance at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals that was that those cars just can't do that they just can't run, in that high 350 range or whatever with a shorter wheelbase and be manageable. But they've proven it's possible, and I think we'll see more and more of that as we move forward.
Kai did say, though, that it's a handful. I mean, the
It's
thing never
hard to
sets
drive.
the wheels down at all or fully to where he can steer it the way you would typically. So there's definitely some more to it. And it has to be we actually, the rule's been clarified. It's got to be stock to get that steel roof and quarter weight break. You have to be within 2 inches plus or minus of the factory wheelbase. So, you're not going to see any pro mod wheelbase cars with steel and roof quarters to try to take advantage of that. So the spirit of the rule is around like a car like Kai's, where it's a fairly aerodynamic body, but it's still a stock sized Camaro in a factory. I don't know, how close it is, but it's a factory appearing, I think is the word, nose with working headlights and everything. So that's kind of the spirit of the rule.
Agreed. What else? What power adder are y'all hoping to see in the winner circle at World Series of Pro Mod? JT?
I mean, go ahead, JT.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Like
Same.
these cars are so close that it's going to come down to the driver.
It really doesn't matter.
So pick a guy and ride with them. Really,
and that's kind of the idea behind this whole thing is like, we're not like beholden to any power adder. I mean, it's any one of them has a shot
I think we're going to see some nitrous cars run good. That's probably one of the things that I'm really excited about. I think Tommy Franklin on the property, Amber Denton making her return. She got kind of all the cobwebs sorted out or whatever, the new car, kind of new program stuff sorted out at US Streets. I think there'll be a player. Keith Haney's due to run good. That car definitely has a bottom 60 or a high 50 in it.
Hey, who's due is Mark Mickey.
Mark Mickey is definitely due.
Definitely due. And
if he puts it together, man.
Yep. And Jason Harris has come so close at this event. For what, two years he's just been right in there. So he's probably due as well. And him missing the last race is probably going to give him a little extra motivation.
Yeah, I think it's wide open, man. I mean, screw blowers have traditionally dominated our races and now this whole series from who ends up in the winner's circle. But when you throw in the chip draw, that scrambles things up. And then there's just the fact that there's the sheer volume of screw blown combinations. I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's probably nearly half the field is screw blown. Then another 25% is pro charger, and then nitrous and turbo make up the rest. So those just sheer odds because of the numbers they have ended up in the winner's circle. But I really don't think there's an advantage for any combination.
Yeah,
Ryan Hayward's in here cheering for Matty D.
I think Matty D is going to run good. I mean, obviously, and Andrew Handress. I mean, both those guys ran really, really well at the U.S. Street Nationals, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that trend continue at the World Series of Pro Mod. When would the Flow Racing? Somebody asked about Flow. The first two events of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series have been the most viewed drag racing content in the history of Flow Racing. I anticipate that continuing at the World Series of Pro Mod. I'm really, really, really proud of that.
They're asking about when will it start. It'll start Thursday. Flow's show starts on Thursday. Testing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be unofficially carried by NC Pro Modder Jay Warren. He'll be down there. Jay really got the short end of the stick at US Street because basically all of testing was canceled, so the only content that he could produce was kind of taken away. So hopefully, with the way the forecast looks as of right now, knock on wood, I think we'll get 3 solid days of NC Pro Modder doing his thing, and then Flo's deal will start up on Thursday. And Flo's been doing a fantastic job. If you haven't subscribed to Flo before now for these other races, you kind of missed out, but you can still get lights out this weekend and then roll right into World Series next year, and then just tons of content the rest of the season.
This year's been really good on Flo. I mean, it really has.
They've done a fantastic job, man. I was actually going to make a post on social just talking about how good of a job they've done. I'm really, really, really happy with the way things have went for the Winter Series, and it's going to be this next race with the addition of our production stuff. I think it's going to really look fantastic. So,
I do too.
If you can, check North Friendship Road. Thank you for all you do, Wade Jones. Thanks, Wade. We appreciate you, man. Well, guys, let's wrap this thing up. I just wanted to touch on a few of these questions. It's great to chat with Vic and, of course, chat with Shawn Murder Nova Ellington. Hell of a good the audio sucked on Flow. Pushrod Garage, we'll look into that. I've not heard that before.
I haven't heard anything about that.
It sounded great. I had it up in the RV
Yeah, I
all
thought it
week.
sounded good in there.
Yep. So
What else do we got? Dan Ferguson.
And
Andrew
there will be guys there testing on Monday.
Yep, we'll be testing on Monday. Be rocking and rolling, guys. I can't wait, dude. Are you guys fired up?
When you get there, T? Sunday?
I don't know. Yeah, probably Sunday.
Are you flying or driving?
Driving, but I can't decide.
Can't bring a gun on a plane, so JT's going to drive.
Can't decide whether whether I'm going to leave a little bit early, stop by Lights Out for a day or something, and see what those cats are up to.
Yeah. What about you, Wes?
Tuesday. I get in on Tuesday. So, and we've got we've got a party on Wednesday night, party on Thursday night, racing on Friday night, racing on Saturday night. It's going to be a hell of a week, man. I can't wait to get down there. And like some of the guys that missed the first couple of races, like I can't wait to see Tommy Cunningham and Anita, the guys from Stroud. It's going to be great to see the whole gang back together and put on what I think will be the greatest show that drag racing's ever seen.
Yep. Get your
All right,
tickets.
guys. Well, hey, we'll see you at
Bradenton
Bradenton Motorsports Park, live on Flow Racing, the World Series of Pro Mod. Man, we've been doing this for a minute now. First one ever in 2017. Here we are doing it again in 2025. The biggest, richest Pro Mod drag race in the history of the known universe. $150,000 up for grabs. 83 Pro Mod drivers and counting on the property, and anyone can win. There's no doubt about it. Tune in. If you're not in the area, make sure you come see us. If you are, we're going to have one hell of a party next weekend in Bradenton, Florida.
That we are.
Appreciate you guys. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to subscribe. It helps us a ton. Click likes, click opinion on Alan Reinhart. We talked about this last week. Sam, send me an email. Wes@dragillustrated.com. We got to cut her off. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Talk soon.
See y'all.
See ya.